as many of you know, the martial arts commentary online can be anything from transcendently insightful all the way down to the depths of, ignorance. And the fact is that the popularity of the content or the popularity of the content creator actually has no correlation to the quality of the content whatsoever. And to the point where, like, this is a known phenomenon that gets taught in logic classes, right? This is a logical fallacy called argumentum ad populum. And it's basically saying that people are conflating something being popular with something being true or valid or correct, whatever. And the fact is that popularity is not actually a metric of that, right? And it sounds obvious when you say it, right? Because the logical cognitive brain goes, yeah, that's pretty obvious, right? The emotional brain, the caveman brain that we are still all equipped with, the one that actually experiences the environment through sensation, the one that is emotionally attached to the actual interface with the environment, the cognitive process is a lagging process. And so the immediate feedback that we get is always this kind of visceral, emotional, sensation type deal. And the fact that we are all walking around with this kind of, for lack of a better term, caveman machinery leading the charge means that even if we know that something being popular doesn't make it true, we still get a positive feedback loop from the stuff that feels good and is popular. And there's a whole host of reasons that we're not going to get into, right? And I don't want to go deep into the marketing side of things here. Clearly, marketing has a lot to do with it. And look, I'm not a marketer. Clearly, I don't particularly like or even respect marketing. Those who are on the more ethical side of it, I don't know that any marketing is ever truly ethical, but on the more ethical side of marketing, people are simply highlighting the benefits or highlighting the positives of whatever it is that they're selling or pushing or trying to get across, whereas the less ethical side is absolutely hiding the negatives or flat out lying. And those are two very, very, very different things. So when we look at this stuff, let's just assume people aren't being fraudulent. Let's assume people are being honest. All right, you can be honest and wrong. You can absolutely be honest and wrong. In fact, I had somebody come into my school many, many, many months ago, swearing up and down that Jet Li was one of the greatest fighters of all time. Because he was a wushu champion, and he kept on saying, "I'm not lying. It's true. You can look it up." And I was like, "You don't have to be lying to be wrong. You can have a sincerely held belief that ends up being incorrect." And nothing against Jet Li, right? Beautiful forms. He doesn't have a fight record. It doesn't mean he can't fight, but he doesn't have a fight record. We have no way to verify how good of a fighter he is. And the fact is that being wrong and being honest, again, are two separate things. And so there's a lot of people out there who are popular, honest, and wrong. And being popular, honest, and wrong makes for a really, really poor soup. It really does. And the overall point of what I'm trying to get at here, other than the fact that we have to be careful of being led by these emotional logical fallacies, the things that feel good are not always good. But it's also the fact that these can also be harmful. Now, again, if it's not malicious, right? If they are popular and honest, just happen to be wrong, there's no detectable malice there, right? I don't remember who said it. I can probably look it up in the post. I might not. But that old quote of "never attribute to malice what can be explained by stupidity." There's a lot of that around, and you end up getting a lot of these very, very, very popular, influential guys that end up shaping the discourse because of these sincerely held beliefs. A great example is Joe Rogan. Now, I'm not a fan. Flat out, I'm not a fan. I don't like his comedy. And then when I found out he was into martial arts, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I still don't like his comedy. And then you start hearing him commentate on martial arts and you go, oh man, this guy is a dogmatic religious zealot. And he says a lot of things that end up being, well, wrong. And he ends up having to correct course. Now, there's nothing wrong with being wrong and correcting course. But the fact is that we start getting into that territory, the Dunning-Kruger territory, of people being uninformed enough that they don't know they're uninformed, right? It's basically a ratio of confidence and knowledge. And the fact that there are a lot of people who are very, very popular, who are very early on that curve, whose confidence is disproportionately high to their actual knowledge and experience. And they end up saying things that are very, very harmful. It may be passively, it may be indirectly, but are still very harmful to the community at large because it's shaping the public discourse. When you end up warding somebody away from, say, attending a martial arts school because they have been told over and over and over and over again, this style doesn't work, then there's not even a chance for that school to develop itself into anything because nobody's coming in. Because they've all been told and convinced that it's wrong. And flat out in ignorance. And that's a problematic point of view. And the fact that you end up having multiple people start touting that line, because that's kind of how popularity works, that cascade effect. Things become very popular, and there may be nuance in the differences, because there always is. But when you have, in the big broad strokes, many, many very popular people saying the same thing, they are going to be shaping the culture. They're going to be shaping how things go. And you go, well, this is one of those common arguments. Well, if what you're doing is quality, it doesn't matter what other people are saying, it will grow and thrive. Not if people don't walk in the door, not if people don't email you, not when you get people flat out telling you and others that what you do doesn't work. I've dealt with that in my Facebook groups. I've dealt with that on ad campaigns. We see this over and over and over again. When people are convinced in their ignorance that something is good and something is bad, they're going to go with that feeling, and they're not going to go with logic. And I have even seen, and this is one of the most frustrating things, I have even seen where examples of something coming up, let's say karate, for example, when something is going, hey, we have repeat examples of this being a particularly good deal, you still get people go, well, he's not using real karate, right? So then they're shifting the goalposts, right? It's the different fallacy, no true Scotsman fallacy. Well, if he was doing the real thing, it wouldn't be, right? Martial arts commentary is full of logical fallacies. Well, all internet discourse is, but martial arts commentary, being the area that I'm in all the time, is I'm seeing constantly logical fallacy after logical fallacy after logical fallacy. And when you bring evidence, not just of a fighter doing good in a fight, but when you bring evidence to the table for certain arguments based on scientific studies, when you bring it in based on video footage of fights or security cam, whatever, these people who are in Dunning-Kruger land still have an excuse for why their position is right. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to be wrong, and most people are not willing to say, I guess I need to adjust my opinion on this. Every once in a while that happens. Every very great once in a while that happens. But it is very, very difficult to change people's minds. It is very difficult to change people's minds. And it is very easy to influence a blank canvas with even a very thin argument. So really the crux of the matter here is just the fact that we have to be careful in our discourse, right? None of us are above an emotional response, for sure. None of us are above making mistakes, for sure. But we have to try. We have to try to stop being led so fast by our emotions, by sensation, by popularity, by these logical fallacies. We have to stop being led by those, sit back, and ask ourselves a few questions. There was something that Penn Jillette said, from Penn and Teller. I reference stage magic and Penn and Teller a lot, guys. And magic and martial arts go hand in hand. It's great stuff. And I remember Penn saying one time something to the effect of, you have to question everything, right? As a skeptic, you have to question everything. And the stuff you should question hardest is the stuff that you immediately agree with. The stuff that you immediately agree with, you have to ask yourself, why? Right? Why do I agree with this thing without question? That should be a huge, huge red flag. We have to be more critical in our discourse. We have to be more critical in our thinking. Look, I'm not going to win any popularity awards for not doing the marketing thing, for not being entertaining, for talking in a very boring, flat tone, right? I'm not going to win any awards for that. But, right, for those of you who are listening, right, let's try to be better, right? Let's try to be better by being more skeptical, more scientific, questioning things, right? Question things within your own practice, question things in other people's practices. And let's take it one step further. Let's not be overly combative about it. That's one problem that the martial arts community really, really has, is being overly combative about their sincerely held opinions, because martial arts operate a lot like religion. These are beliefs that people have, and because most beliefs end up going untested, they don't have they don't have the necessary first-hand data to actually make a better decision, and being combative actually just shuts down conversation, like really, really hard. It is really hard to change people's minds, or at least it's very hard to get them to open up to a different perspective if you are just constantly spouting, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. We're all going to do it, right? It's going to happen. There's going to be things that we get upset about. It's going to happen. But we need to be better. So let's be a little more critical. Study up on your logical fallacies. Study up on cognitive biases. Study outside of the martial arts, and start looking into sports science and things like that, things that can actually help you validate ideas and opinions. And let's avoid the Dunning-Kruger side of things and not speak with such, cocksure confidence on things when we're still really just confident and about an opinion or a belief, not actually about data. I don't know. I've been rambling for a while. I need to shut up. I need to move on. I will talk to you guys later. Good journey. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, give a dog a bone. You can follow us on our other social media accounts, and if you really like us, you can head over to Amazon and buy a shirt. You can also go over to Gumroad and purchase some of our instructional courses. All of the links will be provided and also on our website. If you happen to be in the Phoenix area, we would love to meet you. Come drop in for a class, even just to chat. And if you're looking for a new home, we would be happy to have you. So until next time, good journey.